December has been an absolutely insane month for AI news. While normal people look to spend time with their families, AI companies, on the other hand, look to inundate us with a deluge of AI news and advancements. In what is obviously a vendetta against AI content creators in an effort to encourage us less time with our organic loved ones and more time glued to our screens and our AI companions. I'm on to you guys. This December, OpenAI is probably the worst culprit, dropping not one, but 12 days of ChatGPT advancements and news. So if you missed one, a couple, or all of the announcements in between your holiday festivities, don't worry, I got you. So today we're gonna go over all the announcements and highlights so you don't miss a single beat. Let's dive right in. So OpenAI's 12 Days of Christmas started with the announcement of their O1 and O1 Pro models. These new models have been effectively launched as what they're calling deep thinking models, which basically allows the model to receive a prompt and go through multiple steps in the background before giving you a solution. This is supposed to be better for situations where the AI needs to think through things like coding, challenging math or physics problems, or any situation where you need the AI to carefully consider its output. In the announcement video, they showed how the model performs significantly better in benchmarks where physics and mathematics are involved, and they explained how the model uses something called thought reasoning tokens, where it basically prompts itself in the background, double checks the information, and can even go back and correct itself before giving an output. This could have a lot of potential applications in situations where it's giving you incorrect information that could be easily solved by just rechecking the information or giving it a little bit more thought. In theory, this entire process should create less hallucinations, more accurate results, at the cost of a little bit more time. While this model might seem revolutionary upfront, a few people have said that it's basically ChatGPT 4.0 with the ability to self-prompt itself. So we'll have to see with further testing and usage whether it's actually a significant advancement over what we have right now. The new models are only available on the Plus and Pro plans, I believe, and 30 messages a week on the O1 Pro. So use your prompts sparingly.
Today, we're really excited to preview our latest advancement in our model customization program. It'll let users fine-tune O1 on their own dataset. And again, this isn't standard fine-tuning. This is reinforcement fine-tuning.
This second day lends itself better to understanding how the O1 model works. The new training methods are all about teaching the model how to think through problems step by step. This is particularly useful when you have a problem that the model is not performing well on that requires a certain set of steps or workflows. You can essentially put that together into a document, feed it to the AI model, and over time, the resulting trained model should be able to follow those steps in a more precise manner. Think of it like being a chef in a kitchen and teaching a new cook. These are the different steps that are needed to prepare different dishes, and then letting the model understand the entire process of those steps and then be able to create new dishes based on what is learned from that process. This new training method could be incredibly powerful. With some of the new features that they've announced, you could essentially train the AI to do a series of complex tasks all on its own and even give it control of your computer or other applications and let it run on its own. This could be especially powerful with some of the agentic features that they've announced in later days, where by training the AI in different thought processes and different workflows, it could potentially begin to be able to do things on its own, given the ability to control applications or your computer. So essentially, we've reached the first step where AI is going to take over our lives. Day 3 was one of the biggest announcements of the 12 days of OpenAI. It was the day that they announced Sora. This was initially announced way back in March of 2024, and a lot of hype was built up in terms of what the expectations of what the model could do should be. Unfortunately, it looks like Sora did not really live up to that expectation, with a lot of wonky generations coming through and a lot of issues in terms of the safety features, in particular, the fact that you need to be on the $200 plan to take advantage of being able to generate videos with people's faces on them. However, people are still talking about it on the internet. There's tons of content coming out, and this is definitely a great addition to the AI video space, just maybe not the best one. And in fact, right after the Sora release, Google released their own video model, Veo, which I talk about on my Instagram, which you should follow, and I may produce a separate video dedicated to Veo. It's a little bit challenging as both Sora and Veo are not available in the EU. Day 4 was a really interesting one with the announcement of the Canvas feature. This is essentially a collaborative workspace that you can use to develop documents and code blocks in conjunction with ChatGPT. The way that it works is that if you're chatting with ChatGPT or if you have something that you've written on a Word document, you can spit it out into a canvas and work with ChatGPT to edit that particular document. Using the canvas, there's a few ways that you can do that, either by asking ChatGPT to give you inline comments, much like you would with a Word document, or actually asking ChatGPT to go in and edit the document itself. This could be really powerful as you can not only create and fine-tune documents with ChatGPT, but you can also work with it to further improve anything that you've written or produced personally. This is great for creative applications and writers, but also for coders, where you can drop in a piece of code, iterate through it, have ChatGPT give you comments, and if it's Python, you can even run it, allowing you to see the output, whether it's visual in graphics or code output. This feature will become especially interesting when we start to be able to render web applications in it, as you could actually have a piece of JavaScript or CSS code all written out in your canvas and see it rendered in ChatGPT. This is a really cool feature that I think hasn't been talked about much and could really be a fantastic tool in the entire process of creating, whether it's creative writing, documents, legal documents, or coding. Personally, I use it to double check the code that I'm having problems with other AI coders. Day 5 was all about ChatGPT's integration with Apple Intelligence. This one was pretty straightforward, and they just talk about the different ways that ChatGPT is integrated with various Apple products. On iOS, you've got things like being able to compose, edit, and write stuff directly within your iPhone. On the Mac, it works in pretty much the same way. And then they talk about how they use ChatGPT when Siri is not able to give you an answer. You're then asked whether you want to pass that question on to ChatGPT. All in all, it's a pretty good integration. I'm really happy because I'm an iPhone user, so it's a really easy way to access ChatGPT directly from my iPhone assistant, especially with all of the other additions that they brought into Apple Intelligence. Day 6 is all about video and screen sharing. Again, this feature was previewed months ago in one of the OpenAI announcements. They finally brought it to ChatGPT, where you can turn on your video when you're in advanced voice mode. It showed a really cool example of various team members introducing themselves to ChatGPT using the video feature, and ChatGPT was able to remember elements of each of them when asked who's wearing this, who's wearing that, and so on.
And now I want to see if you remember the folks that you met. So can I give you a quick quiz? What was the name of my colleague that was wearing the reindeer antlers?
That would be Michelle.
All right. And how about the name of my colleague that was wearing the Santa hat?
That would be Rowan.
All right. Good work. You're 2 for 2. You get an A. Thanks, chat.
They also showed off video mode as an instructional tool where they showed one of the team members trying to make a drip coffee and ChatGPT was able to guide them. This definitely has a lot of applications in the kitchen where you could maybe drop in a recipe or ask ChatGPT to help you with something and let it monitor what you're doing. It could also be great for trying to do DIY stuff, fixing things, or just even a great computer technician. Let's say you're trying to build a case together and you have no idea where certain things go. I recently experienced a need for this when I tried to change my computer to a new case. I couldn't remember where certain cables went and I spent ages trying to look it up. It would have been great to just use ChatGPT video. As a bonus to this, they also announced that ChatGPT Advanced Voice Mode now has a Santa voice.
Hello there. It's delightful to hear from you. Are you getting excited for the holidays?
And if I believe you're using it during December, it may roll into January. If you've used up your advanced voice mode credits and you use Santa mode, you get like a reset. So take advantage of advanced voice mode this December. And of course, before we move on to the next day, the advanced video mode is not available to us Europeans. Yay for European democracy. Day 7 was the announcement of a small but pretty useful feature, GPD Projects. They're essentially folders where you can group chats into, and they've added a few extra cool features where you can attach files at the project level. You can kind of have a master prompt at the project level so that any chats that you take within that particular project are able to reference the files and will follow that master prompt. So let's say you give this project a particular personality. The examples that they showed were some Christmas themed ones, making a shopping list and a gift giving project and so on. But I could see a lot of applications in social media where you could set up a prompt defining ChatGPT as a social media expert, drop in a bunch of files of stuff that you want to create social media content on, and then you can have a whole bunch of chats for different posts, different sets of posts that keep referencing the same files and the same personality. The other really cool thing about this is that if you've got a chat where you're using a custom GPT, that can go into the project as well and then reference the files and the master prompt as well. So it'd be really interesting to experiment and see how we can take advantage of custom GPTs and projects to create really advanced outputs. Day 8 was all about ChatGPT Search. This one is pretty straightforward. They've incorporated search into ChatGPT, allowing you to have it search the internet for things. This is really useful if you want to talk about things that are not inherently trained in the model and are more up to date. So you're able to get news as well as information from things that are recently released. This is particularly useful, for example, if you're in programming and you need to reference certain pieces of documentation and whatever ChatGPT is trained in is out of date. You can just tell it to go search the GitHub, or you can give it the PDF link of the updated documentation, and it should be able to use that information along with whatever it's trained with to give you more accurate data. A couple of things that they did announce, which I think Google should definitely be scared of, is they recommended setting ChatGPT as your default search engine. In what is an obvious attempt of shots fired at Google, by setting ChatGPT as your default search engine, you can search in your search bar, and instead of getting the Google results, you'll get the ChatGPT results. This is definitely a first step of ChatGPT and OpenAI trying to eat some of Google's pie, and could have major implications of how we use the web in the future. This is the beginning of websites dying, or websites being built specifically to be fed into ChatGPT rather than have users go look for information. A couple of other cool features with search is when you do search and it's related to some images or a YouTube video, all of that will be embedded into ChatGPT. So if you want to prompt ChatGPT about what they talked about in the 12 Days of Christmas, hopefully this video will appear there. Day 9 was basically a dev day where they went through a bunch of new development features that they're releasing onto the API, including function calling, structured outputs for O1, a new concept called developer messages. So let's say you've got an app, you're using ChatGPT, you can throw in a few developer messages that the user doesn't see, but the app sees, and it interprets it not as part of the prompt, but as developer messages. They also talked about how they added a new parameter called reasoning effort, where developers can adjust the amount of reasoning effort that goes into the model. So if ChatGPT is integrated into something that doesn't require too much thinking, but you want to use the new O1 models, you can do so with less compute. They also added in vision inputs to the API, so that's really cool. You can now integrate ChatGPT vision into your application. However, the most interesting thing that came out of the dev day is a new type of fine-tuning called preference fine-tuning. And this is really cool for applications that work with user input, because if the app asks you to say thumbs up or thumbs down on whether the response they gave you is good quality or not, you can then feed this information back into the model and get it fine-tuned or customized to your own preferences. So it'll be really cool to see if any applications that use ChatGPT will now start to create custom models for certain user tiers so that the responses are more fine-tuned to your particular use case in whatever you're doing. Day 10 was all about bringing ChatGPT to the absolute mass, to the point where you don't even need a smartphone. You can pick up a rotary phone, dial 1-800-ChatGPT, and talk to ChatGPT. So, GPT-powered call centers coming soon to a call center near you. This doesn't really apply to people outside the US, as you need to be in the US to dial a 1-800 number, I believe. You could dial international if you really want to chat ChatGPT on an analog line. For the rest of us, however, we got ChatGPT on WhatsApp. Now, this might not seem like such a big deal, because if you're on WhatsApp, why wouldn't you just open the ChatGPT app? Well, I'll give you one phenomenal use case for ChatGPT on WhatsApp. These are the Meta AI glasses. We've got them over here. And unfortunately, if you live in the EU, a whole bunch of the AI features are neutered. However, one of the cool things that you can do with the Meta AI glasses, regardless of whether you're in the EU or not, is send and receive WhatsApp messages through your glasses. So I personally use these glasses all the time to ask questions to ChatGPT, since the Llama version that I have access to is neutered when it even works. So that feature alone is a great +1. I just wish you could send images. You can't send images right now with ChatGPT on OpenAI, which really sucks. So that's still a feature I'm waiting to be able to take advantage of, because again, if you're in Europe, you can't use the Meta AI "what am I looking at" feature to actually let it use the cameras and analyze what you're looking at. So that kind of sucks. Hopefully it'll come soon. ChatGPT on WhatsApp operates as an anonymous account, so it doesn't know that it's used, not logged in. They did say that they're bringing that soon, so we'll have to see if that happens. That would also be really cool. Day 11 is another really cool feature. It's one called Work with Apps. So kind of like WOAPs, I guess you could call it shorthand. Basically, it's a new feature for the Mac version of ChatGPT, where they've built integrations with a whole bunch of different apps. And it allows the desktop app to effectively see what is going on in that app. So they showed some examples of using different IDEs. I believe they've got Xcode, VS Code, JetBrains, and a bunch of others. You can link the two apps, and then whatever you're doing in the IDE, ChatGPT can see and give you feedback on. They've also integrated this with apps like Apple Notes, Notion, and I think it's called Quip. And again, it's a really great way to put something in Notes, get feedback from ChatGPT, copy paste, and just kind of basically a different way of working with the Canvas feature. But instead of working in ChatGPT, you're doing it in your particular app. So if you've got something set up in Notes and you just need ChatGPT to do some analysis on it, do some work on it, pretty cool. And finally, day 12 was another major announcement, the announcement of their O3 model, which is not out yet. They've just announced it. They did say that they're going to start to potentially release it at the end of January. But the reason this is such a big announcement is that this seems to be the first step towards achieving AGI. And the reason being is that the O3 model not only blew O1 as well as the other models out of the park in some of the benchmarks that they showed off, but they actually showed off a extremely advanced benchmark because, with the existing ones, they're kind of reaching the max of what models can do. And in this super advanced one, which is called Arc AGI, where each question has a different problem that requires a certain set of skills and logic and analysis to put together, the O3 model performed at 75%, which is incredibly impressive compared to other models performing at like 1, 2, 3, maximum I think of 5%. So this level of reasoning has not been seen before. As I said earlier, many have speculated this could be the first step towards AGI. The model is currently going through safety testing and will be released in two flavors, the full-on O3 model and O3 mini, which, like the other releases, is a smaller, more efficient version of the model. This O1 does not seem to have as big of a jump as the full O3 model, but it is still a marginal improvement over the existing O1 models. If you are interested in trying it out and you are a researcher, you can fill out a form on the website and be part of their safety testing. They are looking to release the O3 mini model by the end of January, and that might come sooner if they can get more testers. So if you're a tester, you're a researcher, you're a security firm, go ahead, sign up, you'll be able to try out the model. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to end the video with one more announcement that came from OpenAI, not part of the 12 days, but it came out, I think, 2 days ago, which could have massive implications in terms of the tools, how they're rolled out, and maybe even the pricing model. And that is that OpenAI is going for profit. This has been officially announced. It's happening. It was rumored for a while, and Elon Musk is suing them to try and stop it. I don't know if it's going to go through, but switching from a non-profit model to a for-profit model could mean that changes might happen where it's going to become about bringing value to shareholders and not actually creating quality AI. And I mean, we knew that this was coming for a while, and some of the decisions that OpenAI have made are a little bit questionable, like, for example, putting faces on a $200 model. However, in the pursuit of capitalism, we might actually see things open up more because that's what people are willing to pay for. It'll be interesting to see where the direction of OpenAI goes. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to really support the channel, please come by the Patreon and become a supporter. You get access to ad-free versions of the videos. We have an early access tier. And if you're into generative AI, we drop exclusive workflows for Comfy UI over there as well as a few other benefits here and there wherever I can score them for Patreon users. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.